Okay, so we've done values, we've done vision. Now, all that is the framework, the foundation for it. Then we go into mission. Now, this is a whole other framework on its own, and there's systems and frameworks and stuff within that. So I'll probably do this as a separate video because the last one was already nearly 20 minutes. So, mission. This is your how. How are we going to get there? Frameworks and systems, routine and structure. Now, the thing I'll say about routine is, for me, it's fluid. I was diagnosed ADHD and I'm working through it without medication, and I've been able to do that through this process, through having frameworks and systems and routine. But my life changes so much and there's so much going on all the time. There's a lot of moving parts. My routine does change. It shifts, and I do work on it every single week to make sure that it is where it's supposed to be. And so when things happen, I've got to move things around. I've got my business as usual, but I've got things that I've got to move around. So that changes my routine. By having a structure and a set way of doing things, I can just pick that routine up and put it. So if I want to do my workout or whatever, I just pick that up, my meditation, my reading, whatever it is, I pick it up and I put it somewhere else. Pick that whole thing up, that whole piece up, and put it over here. Okay, so I'll do my workouts on Thursday now. This week it's going to be on Thursday. And then I've got my workout routine within that. So another thing I'll say about working out too while I'm here, I didn't start working out until I was 42, 41, however old I am, 41. I never identified as that person. This is where the whole identity thing comes in really handy too, because I never identified as someone who works out. I worked it into my routine, into my daily habits, so that I did it for so long that it became part of my life, part of my identity. Now I'm someone who runs, someone who works out. I count my steps, all that sort of thing, and I track my progress because it's part of my identity, there's a couple of other videos I did on identity. Have a look at those, and it's like a superpower. So, mission, how do you do it? So how do you get there? So you start with your... This is all about goal setting. So start with your 3-year goals. So you want to get to $1 million. You want to buy a house. You want to buy a car. Have your relationships humming. Whatever it is, whatever your goals are, set your goals within 3 years. And this is why we did the work on the vision. What you want your life to look like, the what, and then this is the how to get to that vision. So your goals will come from your vision. That's where your goals come from. They come from your vision. Now, the way I do goal setting, so do your 3-year goals, then break them down into 1-year goals. Then you break them down into quarterly and monthly, weekly, and then daily you'll have a to-do list. That to-do list that you move the needle on this every day, your to-do list, and it's simple little tasks. It's a little incremental steps. And if you want to get to $1 million, it might be a savings goal. Within 3 years, it might be a savings goal. It might be systems that you try out. It might be a business that you start. Every little thing you do on this on a daily level adds up to the 3-year goals. Right, so how do you do your goal setting? I'll give you an example. Now you could do your SMART goals, so specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So specific goal, this is what I'm going to do every single day. Measurable, anything that gets measured gets managed. So make sure it's something that you can measure achievable. Make sure it's something that you can actually achieve every day. Relevant, it's got to be relevant to your vision, to your 3-year goals, and time bound. So you've got to have a time limit on it. This is all pretty loose for me. I don't worry so much about the time because I know I'm going to get there anyway. And here's the thing about goals is I set these goals and I don't always achieve them, but at least I've set them and I've tried to shoot for them. If I don't achieve them, they go into next month, and then they go into next month, and then they go into next month. Eventually they just fall off. And I get to a point, because I review it every month, I get to a point where I go, well, obviously didn't want to achieve that. The things I do want to achieve, I achieve. I shoot for them and I get them. If I don't achieve them, I'm not that hard on myself because I obviously didn't want to get there anyway. I didn't want it bad enough. And sometimes they come along. They come a year later, they come a month later. With my yearly goals, I set them and then I kind of forget about them. And then I just focus on the monthly goals then. And those yearly goals go in the back of your subconscious, they go into the back of your mind, and you probably hit them anyway. But I'm not looking at my yearly goals every single week, every single month, and that's probably terrible advice. But I do get there eventually. So look at your SMART goals, but don't think you have to stick exactly to that. This is how I do it. So your goals are comprised of the input and the output. To get to a specific outcome, to get to a specific output of your goal, it's got to have an input, which is why you do the to-do list. And this is why you're breaking it down every day. So you know what levers you're pulling every day to make things happen to get to that output. Now, my goal setting, when I go to set a goal, I focus now more on the input. So here's an example. I'm really enjoying this YouTube channel. I'm building it and it's slowly building. My goal was to do a video a week for a year, which is 52 videos. And I thought, what if I could knock that over in a month? So I do a video a day. Now the ultimate goal is to get to monetize, so it's so I can bring in that income, so I can use that passive income to start helping other people for free, which is my goal. So the money that I'm losing on helping people who can't afford coaching, who can't afford services, gets made up through this channel. So you guys are helping, by watching these videos, you're helping me get to my goal, which is helping other people that I could give my time to freely and not have to worry about it because there's still income coming in from other places. So that's why I want to get monetized. So if I thought, what if I could do that in a month? Now, I get at least 1 subscriber for every new video I do. So if I want to get to 100 subscribers, I need to focus not on the subscribers and getting the subscribers, but focus on getting the videos, the 100 videos. So I start looking at, okay, so if I want to do that, then my goal isn't to get subscribers, because that's output. The goal isn't even to do the videos. The goal is create a system that allows me to do a video a day. So creating a 10-minute system or a 20-minute system or a half-hour system or an hour system, whatever I need to put aside. Now, put aside an hour every day to be able to do this. So create a system that gives me an hour every day to be able to do that. So I'm focusing more on the input than the output of the goal. Now, once you get your goals, you've got your input. So my input is the system, the hour system that I've got. So that might be, I've got the computer set up with thumbnails already created. I've got the idea, I sit down and I do some writing, 5 or 10 minutes of writing during the day to brainstorm what I'm going to talk about. So that's my system. That system gets put into a calendar. It gets scheduled in. I figure out roughly how much time I need to do it, and then every day at that time, that's what I put into the calendar. So for this, so it's your goal, and then you want to schedule it. Schedule that goal, put it in your calendar, and you do that for everything. So you do it for your meal prep, do it for your, so I've got, one of my systems I've got is the dailies. And I have to do this every day to make it count as a day being ticked off. So in that, I've got journaling, I've got exercise, I've got meditation, and then I've got, there's another little system within that, which is my business goals, which is where this YouTube comes into. So these dailies, that's a system, because these are the daily tasks that I want to get done. I think there's like vitamins and stuff in there as well, supplements. I can swap any of them out. So if I don't want to do exercise, I could swap that out for yoga. I could swap it out for 10 minutes of chilling out, or I could swap it out for reading. That system of dailies is so interchangeable that it's called dailies, but that's my system. So that every day I've got these things that I want to do, and as my life changes and moves around, I just swap out those goals within that system and that framework of my dailies. Then I've got my business goals, which sometimes that might be writing, sometimes that might be invoicing, sometimes that might be admin or reflection and journaling, and whatever it is, there'll be different goals for the business that I need to move forward, to move the business forward. So they're also interchangeable, but they get done every day at a certain time. So you schedule all that in, and then I've got different frameworks. So I'll have the weekly goals as well, the weeklies, and then I'll call it the weekendies, which is that's when I do all the housework and the chores and stuff. So they're my weekend goals. So that's, washing the bedding, doing the mopping, the sweeping, going through cleaning the bathroom and all that sort of stuff. All that is timed and scheduled, and that's all scheduled into a default diary. Default diary. This is where it gets cool. So, because it gets easy, right? So everything goes into a Google Calendar. Every week, all these systems and all these goals and everything that I put together goes into my calendar. So I know every day I wake up at 4:30, I get up, I go through my dailies, I do my journaling, I do my exercise, I do my meditation, I go for a run, I take the vitamins, and then I've got another system where that goes into a daily score and all that sort of stuff, and I can score the day, and then that all gets dumped into a spreadsheet, and that's a whole other video there and that. But it goes into a default diary. Then, because I've figured out roughly, so my dailies is about 2 hours. So I get through that, I do that in about 2 hours. Sometimes, if I don't get up at 4:30, sometimes I sleep in, because my work can be all over the place. I might get home at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not getting up at 4:30 if I just got home at 4 in the morning. So those dailies get moved to the afternoon, and that's fine. I can do that because that's what I was saying, it's fluid and it changes every week. But once you've got it in your default diary, you'll have your time blocked out. So you'll have, like, this is your day, and you'll have the time blocked out. So you'll have your dailies here, and then you have your goal setting, your goal work here. So this is what goals you're working on, that gets scheduled in. So you're pulling this lever every day, you're making this movement every day, and then you might have some free time here. And then you'll have, like, I have a night routine that goes for a couple of hours that starts about 7 o'clock. So that's like a lot of self-love. So journaling and meditation, the gratitude journaling goes in there. Having a nice bath or a nice shower with some oils to settle me down, and no phone for 2 hours before bed. Do some light reading, all that sort of thing. Some stretching, some yoga. Maybe a workout in the night routine if I feel like it. So I've got a night routine, because how you start your day starts the night before. There's a good little tip for you. Now, you've now got that set in every single week. So you know what you're doing every day with your, and you do what you want with your free time here. But you've got everything else scheduled in. And once it's scheduled, once it's in your diary and it's in the calendar, you're more likely to do it. And if you're not doing it, so every week go back over it and review it. And if you're not doing, so audit your time. If you're not sticking to your schedule, move it, change it. Get it to a place where you like it, where you're having the life you want to live. Now, if you don't have enough free time, cool, change your goals. If you've got too much free time, cool, change your goals and add more stuff into the free time. Bump it in here. Or if you're feeling a little bit burnt out, I can go, nah, I'm going to take the goals out for this month. So last month I had a lot of work on. It was a really busy month. So I didn't set any goals. I didn't focus on my 3-year goals. I didn't focus on my monthly goals. All I was focused on was the workload that I had in that month and to get through it. And this month is a little bit lighter, so I can now circle back to all this and come back to my goals. It's a fluid thing. It's as long as you're reviewing and changing and you're moving forward every single day, set the life you want, set the agenda you want. And if you want to move quicker, put more in your calendar, but you'll be able to see where you can fit more stuff in. If you are moving too quick and you're feeling burnt out, change your calendar, change your default diary. Change your goals. And there's nothing wrong with adjusting your goals, because as things come along, as your mission evolves and your purpose evolves, things are going to change and move around anyway. So that's the basic outline of how I found my purpose, my direction, how I get clarity in my life, and then how I schedule it and how I fit it into the day. I hope I haven't made a mess of it. There's a lot to it, and there's still a lot more that I could go on about with how it's measured and tracked and how I do reflections on it. And I could probably do a whole video on journaling and how I journal, because that evolves and changes too over time. And can be a very fluid process. I've just taken out a lot of tracking metrics from my journaling. I was tracking my sleep, my mood, my exercise, my steps, and tracking. I had a daily score as well, so I had to do my dailies, take my vitamins, make my bed. I had a whole daily score sheet out of 10, and if I get just to understand where my productivity could be better measured and tracked. So that's all been taken out now, and now my whole journal is more reflection, lessons learned, strategizing, and all that sort of stuff. So I've taken out a lot of tracking, but that's a whole different video. So any questions, throw them in the comments. I hope if you got this far, well done. There's a lot to it. You're making steps to make your life better, and this is years worth of work now that I've put together, and I hope I gave it all to you right, and I hope you get something from it. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.